Welcome to this comprehensive study session on CDL Section 8, covering tank vehicles. Driving a tanker requires a specific set of skills and a deep understanding of vehicle dynamics. Whether you're hauling milk or hazardous chemicals, safety is your top priority. In this guide, we'll break down the requirements for the Endorsement, the critical steps of a pre-trip inspection, and the specialized driving techniques needed to manage high centers of gravity and liquid surge. Let's get started on the path to mastering the unique challenges of tank vehicle operation.
To legally operate certain vehicles transporting liquids or gases, you must obtain an N endorsement. This requirement isn't just for hazardous materials. It applies to any Class A, B, or C vehicle designed to haul liquid in tanks with a rated capacity exceeding 119 gallons. Specifically, if the aggregate capacity of all tanks permanently or temporarily attached to your vehicle chassis is 1,000 gallons or more, you need that N endorsement on your license. Understanding these specific volume thresholds is essential for compliance with state and federal transportation regulations.
It is important to distinguish what qualifies as a tank vehicle. For instance, a commercial motor vehicle transporting an empty storage container tank that was not originally designed for transportation is not considered a tank vehicle. This applies even if the tank has a rated capacity of at least 1,000 gallons, provided it is temporarily attached to a flatbed trailer. Knowing these legal definitions, such as those found in California Vehicle Code Section 15210, helps you determine when special endorsements and regulations apply to your specific load and vehicle configuration.
Before you ever hit the road, or even load or unload your tanker, a thorough inspection is mandatory. This process ensures that the vehicle is structurally sound and safe to carry potentially volatile liquids or gases. You must verify that the tank itself is secure and that all mechanical components are functioning correctly. Checking your vehicle's operator manual is vital, as tank vehicles come in many shapes and sizes, each with its own set of specialized items that require your expert attention during a pre-trip walk-around.
If you hold a commercial learner's permit with an N endorsement, there are strict limitations on what you can drive. A CLP holder is prohibited from operating a tank vehicle unless it is completely empty. Furthermore, if the tanker previously contained hazardous materials, it must be thoroughly purged and cleaned before you can get behind the wheel. These safety protocols are designed to ensure that new drivers are not exposed to the complex handling challenges of liquid movement while they are still in the learning phase of their training.
For those applying for a Class C CDL with only an N endorsement, a commercial skills test is required. You must be tested in a representative Class C vehicle designed to transport liquid or gaseous materials in tanks, meeting the 119-gallon individual or 1,000-gallon aggregate capacity rules. However, if you are adding an N endorsement to an existing Class C CDL, you only need to complete the applicable knowledge tests. A new commercial skills test is not required. This distinction helps streamline the endorsement process for experienced drivers.
When inspecting any tank vehicle, the most critical item on your list is checking for leaks. You must look under and around the entire vehicle for any signs of liquid or gas escaping. Carrying liquids in a leaking tank isn't just dangerous, it's a crime. If caught, you will be cited, prevented from continuing your journey, and you could be held liable for the expensive cleanup of any spills. Always verify the tank body or shell for dents or leaks to ensure the structural integrity of your container.
Beyond the tank shell, you must meticulously check all intake, discharge, and cutoff valves. It is essential that these valves are in the correct position, typically fully closed and locked, before you load, unload, or even move the vehicle. Furthermore, inspect all pipes, connections, and hoses for signs of leaks, paying special attention to the joints where wear and tear are most common. A single loose connection can lead to a significant safety hazard or environmental disaster, so never cut corners during this phase of your inspection.
The top of the tank requires your attention as well. Check all manhole covers and vents to ensure they close correctly and have intact gaskets. Manhole covers must be properly sealed to prevent leaks during transit, while vents must be kept clear so they can correctly manage the internal pressure of the tank. Never, under any circumstances, drive a tank vehicle with open valves or unsecured manhole covers. These simple checks are your first line of defense against accidents and cargo loss while you're on the open road.
Special purpose equipment varies by the type of cargo you carry. You must ensure that systems like vapor recovery kits, grounding and bonding cables, and emergency shutoff systems are all in good working order. Additionally, verify that your vehicle is equipped with the required fire extinguishers and that they are fully charged. Knowing exactly what emergency equipment you are required to carry and confirming that it works is a vital part of your responsibility as a professional tank vehicle operator. Don't wait for an emergency to find out something is broken.
Hauling liquids requires specialized skills due to two primary factors: a high center of gravity and liquid movement. A high center of gravity means that much of the load's weight is carried high up off the road, making the vehicle top-heavy. As seen in Figure 8.1, a tanker's center of gravity can be 3 times higher than that of a passenger car. This makes tankers exceptionally prone to rolling over, even at the speed limits posted for highway curves. You must always take curves and ramps well below the posted speeds.
Liquid surge is the movement of liquid inside a partially filled tank, and it can have dangerous effects on your vehicle's handling. For example, when you come to a stop, the liquid surges back and forth. When that wave hits the end of the tank, it creates a powerful force that pushes the truck in the direction of the wave. On slippery surfaces like ice, this surge can shove a stopped truck straight into an intersection. As a tanker driver, you must be intimately familiar with how this internal movement impacts your control.
To manage weight and surge, many liquid tanks are divided into smaller sections by bulkheads. These solid walls create independent compartments within the main tank. When loading and unloading these smaller tanks, you must pay very close attention to weight distribution across the entire vehicle. It is vital not to put too much weight on only the front or only the rear of the truck, as improper balance can severely compromise your steering, braking, and overall stability while navigating traffic or uneven terrain.
Baffled liquid tanks use bulkheads with holes in them, which allow the liquid to flow through while breaking up large surges. These baffles are effective at controlling forward and backward movement during starts and stops. However, it is important to remember that they do not control side-to-side surge. This means that even in a baffled tank, the liquid can still shift toward the outside of a turn, potentially causing the vehicle to roll over if you are traveling too fast through a curve or making a sharp lane change.
Unbaffled tanks, often called smooth bore tanks, have nothing inside to slow the flow of liquid. These are typically used for transporting food products like milk, as sanitation regulations forbid the use of baffles because they are difficult to clean. In a smooth bore tank, forward and back surge is incredibly strong. You must be extremely cautious, moving slowly and carefully when starting or stopping. The lack of internal resistance means the liquid has full momentum to push your vehicle, requiring maximum driver awareness and smooth control.
You must never load a cargo tank totally full. Liquids expand as they warm up, and you must leave room for this expansion, a concept known as outage. Different liquids expand by different amounts, so the required outage will vary depending on your cargo. Knowing the specific outage requirement for the bulk liquid you are hauling is a key part of your loading procedure. Failure to leave enough room can lead to pressure buildup or cargo leaking through vents as the temperature rises during your trip.
The amount of liquid you can load depends on several factors beyond just volume. A full tank of dense liquids, such as certain acids, might exceed legal weight limits before the tank is even full. For this reason, you may often partially fill tanks when hauling heavy liquids. Your loading calculations must take into account the expansion in transit, the weight of the liquid, legal weight limits, and the starting temperature of the load. Balancing these factors is critical for both legal compliance and the safe operation of your vehicle.
Safety regulations for tank vehicles are strictly enforced, especially when transporting flammable liquids. If you are caught speeding while carrying more than 500 gallons of flammables or driving with wanton disregard for safety, you face significant fines. For a first offense, the fine is substantial. For a second offense within 2 years, you face a fine of at least $2,000 and a possible 6-month suspension of your hazardous materials or endorsement. These laws reflect the high risk these loads pose to the general public.
Hours of service are also more restrictive for certain tanker operations. Drivers of tank vehicles with a capacity greater than 500 gallons transporting flammable liquid are limited to a maximum driving time of 10 hours within a work period. This regulation, found in California Vehicle Code Section 34501.2, is designed to combat driver fatigue, which is particularly dangerous when managing the unique physics of a liquid-filled vehicle. Adhering to these limits is a non-negotiable part of being a professional and safe tanker driver.
To drive safely, you must remember the golden rule: drive smoothly. Because of the high center of gravity and liquid surge, every move you make must be gradual. This includes starting from a stop, slowing down, and coming to a complete halt. You must also make incredibly smooth turns and lane changes. Any sudden movement can trigger a surge wave that overcomes your traction or destabilizes your high center of gravity, leading to a loss of control or a catastrophic rollover accident.
Controlling surge during braking requires a steady foot. Maintain consistent pressure on the brakes and resist the urge to release them too soon as you come to a stop. You should begin braking far in advance of where you intend to stop, and always increase your following distance to give yourself ample time to react. If you must stop quickly to avoid an accident, use controlled or stab braking techniques. Remember that steering quickly while braking is a recipe for a rollover in a tanker.
Curves are particularly dangerous for tank vehicles. You must slow down significantly before entering a curve and then accelerate very slightly through it to maintain stability. Keep in mind that the posted speed limit for a curve is often too fast for a top-heavy tanker. Your high center of gravity means you are much closer to the rollover threshold than other vehicles, so taking a curve at the legal speed could still result in your trailer tipping over if the liquid shifts.
Stopping distance is another critical factor to manage. Always be aware of how much space your vehicle needs to stop safely. Remember that wet roads can double your normal stopping distance, requiring even more advanced planning. Interestingly, an empty tank vehicle may actually take longer to stop than a full one, because it has less weight to provide traction for the tires. You must adjust your driving style and following distance based on both your load weight and the current road conditions.
Skid prevention is all about maintaining traction. You must avoid oversteering, over-accelerating, or over-braking, as all of these actions can cause your tires to lose their grip on the road. On tank trailers, if your drive wheels or trailer wheels begin to skid, your vehicle may jackknife, which is an extremely dangerous situation. If you feel your vehicle start to skid, you must immediately take action to restore traction to the wheels and regain control before the trailer begins to swing around.
Let's review some key concepts to test your knowledge. First, do you remember the difference between bulkheads and baffles? Bulkheads are solid walls that divide a tank into independent, smaller compartments, while baffles are bulkheads with holes that allow liquid to flow through while slowing down surge. Understanding this distinction is vital for knowing how your load will move. If you're hauling several smaller tanks divided by bulkheads, you have to be very careful with how you distribute the weight of the liquid during loading.
Next, consider your speed. Should a tank vehicle ever take curves, on-ramps, or off-ramps at the posted speed limits? The answer is a firm no. Because of the high center of gravity and the risk of the liquid shifting, tankers should always take these maneuvers well below the posted speeds. Tests have shown that tankers can roll over even when obeying speed limits meant for passenger cars. Your safety depends on being more cautious than the average driver in these high-risk areas.
How are smoothbore tankers different to drive than those with baffles? Smoothbore or unbaffled tanks have no internal resistance to forward and backward surge. This makes them significantly more difficult to handle during starts and stops compared to baffled tanks, which use their perforated walls to break up surge waves. Smoothbore drivers must be exceptionally gentle and patient with their inputs to avoid letting the liquid's momentum take control of the vehicle, especially in heavy traffic environments.
What determines how much liquid you can safely load into your tank? There are 4 main factors: the amount the liquid will expand in transit, the weight of the liquid, the legal weight limits for your vehicle en route, and the starting temperature of the load. Furthermore, Do you remember what outage is? It's the empty space you must leave at the top of the tank to allow for liquid expansion as it warms. Getting these numbers right is essential for a legal and safe journey.
Finally, how can you help control surge, and what makes special care necessary for tankers? Controlling surge is all about steady brake pressure and advanced planning. Brake far in advance and don't release too soon. The two main reasons tankers require such special care are the dangerously high center of gravity and the powerful shifting weight of the liquid surge. If you can master these two factors through smooth driving and constant awareness, you'll be well on your way to a safe and professional career.
This concludes our deep dive into CDL Section 8. By understanding the endorsement requirements, performing meticulous pre-trip inspections, and mastering the physics of high center of gravity and liquid surge, you are preparing yourself for success. Remember, a professional tanker driver is a smooth, patient, and incredibly observant driver. Good luck on your CDL knowledge test and your future career on the road. Drive safely, follow the rules, and always keep your vehicle under control. You've got this.